Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, my name is Emmanuel. In today's video we'll be discussing or learning about the entry and the Combobox widget. Okay, without further ado, before we take a step into the tutorial, make sure you smash the like button, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Welcome back guys. I have a file created already. Oh my, I might have to skip this part. I forgot to do the setup over there. Anyway, an entry widget is like an input box. Okay, you'll see it in a minute. A box where we can type text in. Let me show you that. We're gonna, let's call it entry1 equals to tk.entry, and then you have to inherit from root. Let us do a grid. Since you're not using this anyway, you're not using the variable or referencing it somewhere else, we just do this way. So if I run Ctrl B, as you can see, we have a box in here. You might not be able to see it clearly, but if I expand this, you can see this. You can focus in and out of it. This is the box. You can type text in it. I can increase the width of the box and reduce it. So I'm going to change this to 50. If I do 50, you see the box is wide. 50. So this wide. And I can also reduce the box to 5, which will make it really small, as you can see over here. So if it depends on what type of form you are filling in or what type of form you are using the entry box for. So if you have a form where you just expect a short range of short length of numbers, pardon me over there, you can use a smaller box instead. So I'm going to clear the width. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about state briefly. So to talk about state, I have to put this in a variable now. So we'll call that entry1. And of course, if you have this in a variable, you don't really want to call your grid on it here. Or else what you'll be doing is you'll be returning a non-type to this. You can try it out and see the result anyway. Let's add some space here, and then we'll do entry1 dot grid, Ctrl Shift Enter, and then we'll do entry1 dot state. So we want to change the state of this. Now if I change it to read only and I run this, I'm gonna expand this. It's a pain on the neck expanding that. So now as you can see, I can't type anything in here, just highlight the box. And you can also change it to disabled. If I run that, it won't even highlight the box. Now you can see it doesn't even like the box at all. So that's the mode. Of course, you won't be using it at the start. You won't be disabling your entry box at this entry widget at the start. So just so you know how to do that. There's also one thing you can do. If you notice, let me clear this. Ctrl L to highlight the line. If you are using Sublime Text and backspace. Now if I run this, you notice I have to click on this before I can type in it. So one thing you can do to make sure you don't have to always click on it is automatically focus on it when your program starts. So if I do entry1.focus and I run Ctrl B, you see now it's focusing automatically. I don't have to click on it to be able to focus on it. Some attributes like font, justify, cursor, you can watch if you want to learn more about that. I'm not going to talk about that to prevent this video from being too long. You can watch my video on the frame and label widget. Just check the timeline. Just move to this place where I talked about these stuffs. But if you want to learn about fonts, you should watch my video on continuation of label widget. So I'll put those ones I talked about now in the description below, and also you see a card about right now in the top right corner of your screen. Now we've got that out of the way. So how do we use the value in this entry widget? I'm going to create a scenario now. I might skip this whole part. Now if I run this, you see this, it works now. That's what I want. So this is the scenario I was going to create. Now in this case, if I run this and I try to, okay, so I'm going to do, now you should be able to see the usefulness, username.focus. So I don't have to click on it all the time. So now if I type anything here, if I type password, my password still shows, and of course I don't want my password to show. So what I'm going to do is to make sure my password doesn't show, I'm going to do show. What I want it to show instead is just show a star, which is typical. If I do Ctrl B, oh sorry, not for the label, for the entry rather, sorry about that, not for the label, I didn't even see that. Okay, Ctrl B. So if I enter type here, it's gonna be appear in star. You can also change it to whatever you want, obviously. It goes without saying that. If I do Ctrl B, and now it just shows that. And if the thing is, if I copy this and paste it here, it's actually copying the AND character. It's not copying my password. So let me show you that. I'm gonna print username dot get, and if I do this, so anytime I submit, it gets the value from my username entry box, entry widget, and then it prints it out. So now if I click login, you see we have hello here. So if I type in, okay, let me come in now. If I type in something random and I copy this and paste it here, you notice if I press login, I should get my username down here. So if I press login, you see I get my and I don't get the password. You see that? Okay. Now entry widgets, when it comes to using entry widgets, you will normally be getting your value from username and your password directly with the get. So the typical way of doing it is using it what we call text variable. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to make use of Tkinter variables. If you don't know what that is, I've explained that in a former video, but I'm still going to talk about it here, and you should be able to grab the concept. So to create the variable, we'll do username var. So you just variables in Tkinter just placeholders for Tkinter widgets. Okay, it's as simple as that. String var. Okay, we want a string var. We also have int var for integers, but we're going to do string var since this is a text, even if the username is just numbers, but we're going to use string vars. I'm going to do copy this, this, Control C. I'm going to come here, paste it there. Now instead of username var, I'm going to use password var. Okay, now instead of using username.get, I'll just do username var.get. Well, this way, you notice we just added this line, and that, normal, if you really understand Python, you know that really doesn't change anything, except you are wondering if Tkinter has a magic method of just saying this and just adding, automatically connecting with this. No magic. You have to connect this, and the way you connect it is what you using text variable I talked about earlier. So you do text variable equals to, and then you pass username var. So you are saying your text, whatever text you have in here is connected to this, which means I can get the same text from this. Instead of username.get, I can do username var.get, and also you can set values. So I can do username var.set the text, and then it's going to set text inside my entry widget. So now I'm going to do the same thing here as well. Okay, so I'll change this to start so I don't get confused. Anyway, I shouldn't get confused either way. So I'm going to do password var. Then if I run this, instead of and I come here, hello, I should still get my hello down here, my username var.get. Okay, so you understand that's how the text variable works. Now there's something about text variable. The way text variable works here, I told you, it just connects the text of your entry widget to the text of your variable. So if you do the same thing for a label widget, you know what will happen. So I'm gonna do text variable equals to username var, but of course username var is defined down here, so we have to move this down. So I think it would be better if I just move this up here as well. But normally, I would prefer using just putting all my variables together. Let's continue this way anyway. Let's continue this way. So now I set the text variable to username var, which means Python sees that I'm trying to set, Tkinter sees that I'm trying to set my text from a variable instead of just from this. So this won't show anymore. If I do Control B, now anything I type here is going to be what will be my widget, because I'm telling my label widget that get your text from this variable. So now if I type hello, you see there, that's a trick you don't know about. So just play around with it, you should get the heck of it. I'm going to close that. Okay. Now apart from all of that, how do we validate our input from the entry widget when we submit? One way you can do it is just when you submit, in this case, just do username equals to username.get here, password, do some validation up here, manual code. That's one way. And another way is just using Tkinter itself. Tkinter has built an helper for us. So what we do is we just come here and do define validate. Okay, I just want to show you how to validate functions, but this just follow along. Now one thing you want to do when you validate functions is you want to register the function that serves as a validator. So you can either register your function to the root window or register your function to the widget you want to verify text from or validate inputs from. In this case, I'm going to connect it to this. I'm going to do username dot register. It's as simple as that. You must have noticed that the names in Tkinter are just descriptive. No, you don't have to start thinking about it too much. They're just things you can easily grab. So anyway, we're going to register validate. We have registered that way. Okay, now your validate function must always return either true or false. So I'm going to return true either way. So we're going to return either true or false. Now you don't validate. Okay, I'm going to come up here. Now what next? We have something we call validate. Okay, now validate is gonna take in a parameter, an argument. An argument is just telling me at one point in time do I need to validate. Okay, I think it's a bad idea using validate here, so I'm not gonna do validate form. Okay, I'll just change this to form now, or whatever I want to change it to. Let's just use validate form, even though we are just validating the username. Okay, so this validate is just saying at one point in time do I want to validate my entry widget. So I can say anytime I focus in. So if I run this now, oh, I have to put in something else. Okay, we won't have it down here. Okay, I'm still gonna explain all of this. So this validate is saying at one point in time, I want to call my validate function. So if I put focus, so this means anytime I click on my box, this username box, it's validated. Or anytime I click out of it, it's validated. That's what focus is. But if I do focus in, it's only validates whenever I click on it, focus in on it. But if I click use focus out, it validates anytime I click out of my box. And if I use key, anytime I press any key, change any keystroke, changes the keystroke, it's gonna get that. While all is gonna validate in all of these situations, and none. No, this is not the special. This is not the Python's non-type object. Just the string. You just put your string as none. That's how that one works. So now I'm gonna change this to focus. So it validates anytime I focus in or out. So I'm gonna print something here so we know it works. So we're gonna do validated. Now if I run this, Ctrl B. Now it didn't work because I automatically focus. Yes, if I focus out, oh yeah, of course we still need to add something. It doesn't work now, so we still need to add something. Yeah, you need to add something called the validate command. Remember, we only registered our function here. We haven't told our entry widget the function we want to use as our validator exactly. So we're gonna do validate command is equals to, then we pass a validate form. So if I run this now, you see it's focused. Because we focused here, it's validated immediately. So if I focus out, it validates. If I focus in, it validates. You get the point. Okay, that's how that works. I can change this to key. Okay, let me change to focus. If I use focus and I'm typing, it doesn't validate. But if I change this to all and I'm typing, it validates while I'm typing. As you can see, it keeps printing this. Okay, now I'm gonna leave that at all, so you know how to validate that way. Now if I return false, so what you do in this type of situation, I wonder, okay, yeah, I can get my input. Okay, I can connect this. So how does this really help me? Now I'm gonna show you one way this can help. So the register object actually returns a string object that allows us to call this validate function. Okay, and this validate function doesn't necessarily take just this argument. So we're gonna do some other things. I'm gonna clear this. Although I can leave this here, but I can leave this validate here, but I'm gonna clear this. Okay, now if I clear this, what I want to do here is we're gonna put this in a variable and call this username user val. Okay, then let's just use it name too long. Okay, let's just use username validator. Now this returns a string we can use to call our validator function, and down here we're gonna say username dot config. So whoever sees this line, the reason I didn't leave that validate in here, although I can leave it validate in here, but the reason I didn't leave it in here, so whoever sees this line knows it's just for the validation. Okay, so I remember in my last, for those of you who don't really understand why I'm saying this, in my last video, one of my videos, I explained using config. Instead of using config, you can just put your attributes in here as well, or you can put them in config. You can it just depends on your style of coding. So anyway, without wasting time, let's do validate. I think I copied that config. Oh no, I didn't copy it. So I'm going to do validate equals to all. Let's just all for now, and then validate command. Okay, so validate command is equals to what? Now we're not going to be passing just the function this time around. What we'll be passing is a tuple. So in this tuple, we're going to pass in username val. Okay, username val, and then what do you want to get? So this, whatever we pass here, is going to be, they are called callback substitutions, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, callback substitutions. Callback substitutions code. So those codes are what signifies what we want to pass to our function. So if I want to pass the text in, so I can validate it, I'm going to pass the text in. If I want to pass in whatever I want to pass, so I'm going to use some here, I think I copied it earlier. I'm gonna check my clipboard so I can paste it here. I also paste it in the description below, and I'll put the link to the original article where I got it from. So I do Ctrl V. I think I copied it. Let me check my clipboard. Okay, here it is. So if I paste this here, okay. So these are what I refer to as the substitution code and their meanings. So if I put this here, comma, this D, okay, percentage D, it has to be in strings, of course. Percentage D. So that's the callback substitution code. Now I need to put something here to take that as an argument, okay, because it's gonna pass as an argument to the function. So I'm gonna call this. So it says D returns 0 for attempted delete. So if I try to delete anything from my entry box, it's gonna return 0. Okay, so this is gonna pass in 0 as the argument here. 1 for trying to insert anything, or -1 if validate is focus in focus out. So if I set my validate option as focus in focus out, it's gonna return -1. Okay, or change to text. So you get when we start using it, you understand how that really works. So I'm gonna pass in here and put info. Let's just use that as info anyway. And then instead of printing this in front of validated, I'm gonna put my info. So if I do Ctrl B, now I see it returns -1, and the reason why it returns -1 is because, okay, so I'm gonna do Ctrl B again, and now if I type anything, see it validates. But okay, something is wrong. Let me change it to true. If I do Ctrl B now, it types. So in the case where we had false, you notice it didn't type anything. Okay, and in the case where we had true, it works. So that won't allow us to do anything except the form is validating. Okay, get the point. Now if I try to insert anything, it gives me 1, just like this explanation says. And if I try to delete, if I try to delete anything, it gives me 0. Insert 1, delete anything, it gives me 0. Okay, now if I change it to, I can add more. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1. I can do Windows I. Okay, if I do Control, so I have to pass in on that one here, info 2, and then info 2. So we can see this. If I do this, you see info 2 means it returns the beginning of the index of attempted delete. So if I type something here, so if I do this, it should return the index of where this D is. Okay, as you can see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was where the D was, or attempted insertion. Now we can also get the current text. Returns our current text. So if I change this to P, let's change this to P, so I don't have to start adding a lot of variables. Now we see we get our current text in there. Even if I paste in anything, we get everything here, as you can see, even arranged. So as I forgot to change my label back to text. As you can see, pasted it in here, the exact same way I have it. So what I'm gonna do is, let's just change this to, let's remove this from here, so we don't have to be doing that all the time. Okay, now that's it about that. So while I'm doing that, there should be a picture up where you can just see the table, or I'm gonna link all this in the description below, and I'm gonna link the site original article as I mentioned earlier, so we don't waste time on this. Okay, now that's it for the entry widget. Okay guys, the entry widget was a bit long. I just checked the time. So what I'm gonna do now is we're just gonna move straight into the Combobox widget. We're gonna move straight into the Combobox widget. It's simply a list of choices. Okay, so now that we create the combo box, let's call it combo 1. Then we say ttk.combobox. You guessed it right, combo box, and then we're gonna do root. Okay, let's just do combo 1.grid. So if I run this now, you see we have a combo box. Okay, this is what you refer to as a combo box, a list of choices where you have a lot of things. Okay, now you are wondering why don't I have any options inside of that. So for you to get options, you need to pass in your values. Okay, let's say you have a list. Okay, let's say you have a list of numbers. You just do combo 1. Values, and then you combo 1 values equals to, let's say, list of numbers are just let's just put I for I in range 5. So if you run that now and I come down here, you see we have 0 to 4. Okay, now we have values. Now I'm wondering, I can change this to 44 and submit my form that way. So for you to prevent that from happening, you need to change the state. So I'm gonna come here, and then we're gonna do combo 1.state and then we're gonna put read only. So if I do Control B, so what the only thing you can do is select. You cannot type in here. Okay, you can only select. So that's how you make sure that is, you can't just put custom values. So you can also apply height and width. So I'm gonna put my height here. Height, let's give it a height of 10 and width of 10. So we know what that is for. So if I do that, now the width is for the box, and for these values, while height is for this. Okay, the height is for the number of elements here. So in this case, we have an height of 10 to contain all the elements. But if I change my height to 3, then I'll have to scroll down to see 4. So if I do my height, change this to 3, and I run this, now you see I would have to scroll down to 4. Okay, I think there's something like 0, 1, 2. Okay, yeah, height of 3, that would be 3 elements. Sorry, not 3 to no, not I would have to scroll 3 and 4. That's 1, 2, 3 elements. Sorry about that. Okay, so you get the point. 0, 1, 2, 3. I have to scroll down to this. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we've done that. We understand how that works. One thing you can also do here is use text variable as well. So I can do text variable equals to combo var. Now if I come here and do combo var is equals to tk dot string var. So now enter my click on it. So one thing we can do is, okay, let's just put the variable as this. We'll get back to that. Now with what of our command attributes? Well, Combobox doesn't have one. You can use command attribute that anytime an option is chosen or changed, Combobox generates an object which we'll be using to run our commands instead. All we have to do is just to bind the object to our Combobox. Okay, the object to generate with the callback function. So what the object to generate, whenever we change the change in value, then we'll bind that to a function. So instead of using our command on click, then we'll just use that. You see how that works now. So let me show you. We'll come here and then we'll see combo1.bind, and then this is what the object looks like. Then you just Combobox selected. Then we'll bind it to a function. Let's call the function combo get. Let's call those are just random functions anyway. Combo get. Now we get our value from to print combo var dot get. Okay, so if I run this and I click on 1, combo get text variable 1 was given. Combo. Oh yeah, of course. Whenever you're using this, it takes in an argument. So if I do e, okay, and let me show you what that is. That's an object. So if I do this and click on it, you see the object I'm talking about. I forget about that. So you can use that. You can check the position of x, y, stuff like that. But for now, just to keep things simplified, we don't need to know much about that. So we're gonna come back to this Combobox.get. Now if I run this, Control B, so anytime I select, it prints that value. That's 2, 0, and so on. Okay, 3. So anytime anything you click on. Okay, I think there's something left. There's something you can also do. If I run this now, you can also call a command so that whenever I click on this, a function is run. Your code runs a function. So you call that post command. Let me see. This is up to 79 characters already. Okay, let me just come here and do post. It's called post command. So anytime I click on that arrow down, it runs this command. I'm going to do combo get. So now if I do Control B, normally this will only call my function whenever I click on an object. But if I click on this, note it gets, you see, Combobox missing one. Okay, you see the problem now with this is we can't use this function because using this gives our function, passes an argument to our function, but using this doesn't pass any argument. So we'll just create another function for that instead, and then we'll define combo get 1, and then we'll just do the same to print combo var dot get. So now let's just change it to 1. See, I hope you understand why that isn't working. That isn't working because this one passes an argument to combo get and this one doesn't pass an argument to it. But we can fix that issue by just doing none. Oh my goodness, why didn't I even think of that? Oh my. So we just put this as none. So if nothing is passed, it should be none. So we don't have to worry about that. Oh my goodness. So just do Control B there instead. And whenever I click on this, it calls the function. But remember, we don't have any value. So in combo var, so we're not going to get anything. So let me just print something here so you know we are calling it. So if I do Ctrl B now, whenever I click on this arrow down, it prints calling. If I select a value now and I click the arrow down, we can get the number. Sometimes I click arrow down, it calls the post command function. Okay. Now thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, then you should give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my next epic content. Much love, guys. Peace out.